Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, for the first time since the Trump presidency, construction will take place on the southern border wall. Plus, the 75th Daniel Boone Festival is underway in Barberville with a full week of activities.
Plus, we are tracking some beneficial showers tonight and tomorrow. Your full forecast coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts right now.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The Biden administration says it will resume building the southern wall for the first time since President Joe Biden took office. This comes as southern border crossings spike. WYMT Washington News Bureau reporter Brendan Cullerton spoke to lawmakers on the Hill about what they want to see at the border.
Pressure is heating up on the Biden administration to handle a recent influx of migrants, not just from Republicans on Capitol Hill, but from Democratic governors receiving busloads of migrants. The Department of Homeland Security says there is an immediate need to construct physical barriers on the southern U.S. border. President Joe Biden, who vowed construction would end when he took over the White House, claims the move was made out of necessity.
The border wall, the money was appropriated for the border wall. I tried to get them to reappropriate, to redirect that money. They didn't, they wouldn't. And in the meantime, there's nothing under the law other than they have to use the money for what was appropriated.
Biden contends the wall will not deter migrants, but he did not stop his own Department of Homeland Security from waiving 26 federal laws to allow for construction. Illinois Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker recently wrote a letter to Biden saying his state is nearing a breaking point on handling the influx of migrants.
We wanted to make sure that there was a public statement out there of many of the things that we've talked about in the past with the administration, but the things that we need right now.
Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott has been busing migrants to cities like Chicago and New York. Critics say he's treating people as political pawns, but Texas Senator John Cornyn says it brings the border issue to more people's attention.
This is a disaster any way you look at it, and hopefully with some of these governors in blue states beginning to speak up, we can not just fund the current broken policies, but we can actually change the policies.
The Biden administration has repeatedly asked for more money from Congress to address the border. Cornyn says they simply need to follow the law.
I'm not for spending one penny more to facilitate the current policies of the Biden administration. All they want to do is expedite more people into the interior of the United States, which makes the human smugglers rich.
DHS says construction will begin in the Rio Grande Valley, which has seen a high number of crossings. In Washington, I'm Brendan Cullerton.
Attorneys for former President Donald Trump are asking once again for a federal judge to delay the trial regarding his handling of classified documents. Trump is accused of criminally mishandling sensitive national security secrets at his Florida home after he left office. In a court filing yesterday, Trump's attorney cited issues over access to material in the case. For now, the trial is set to begin in May. Rescue workers are digging through the rubble trying to save victims of a Russian strike on a cafe and shop in Ukraine, but more than 50 people are already confirmed dead. This coming from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who says one of the deaths is a 6-year-old boy. Zelensky calls today's attack a, quote, demonstrably brutal Russian crime, a rocket attack on an ordinary grocery store. Russian terror must be stopped. Ford is laying off 400 more workers at auto plants in Detroit, and the company says the UAW strike is to blame. Ford explains the layoffs are a, quote, consequence of the strike at the Chicago assembly plant because these two facilities must reduce production of parts that would normally be shipped to Chicago. The 400 layoffs are in addition to the already more than 900 layoffs at the other Ford facilities, making it more than 1,300 employees let go so far. Police are looking to identify 4 people seen in a video captured near the scene of a shooting on the campus of Morgan State University Tuesday. Police have not said where the video was taken or why they want to know their identities. 5 people were shot, including 4 students. They range in age from 18 to 22, and their injuries are all non-life-threatening. The university has postponed its football game this weekend, as well as other homecoming activities. A former campaign staffer for Representative George Santos is pleading guilty. Court documents show Nancy Marks is charged with at least 1 federal felony. The nature of the count is not clear, but her case is connected to the congressman's. She is the former treasurer for Long Island, New York Representative's campaign. He is charged with fraud, money laundering, and theft of public funds. A Congress in chaos as Kevin McCarthy gets ousted by his own party. But what happens next? Our Washington Bureau reporter Molly Martinez joins us now with the breakdown.
Without a speaker, Congress is in a state of paralysis, and the scramble for the gavel is already underway. Here are the 3 things you need to know about what happens next. Number 1, who is next in line? So far, Steve Scalise of Louisiana and Jim Jordan of Ohio have thrown their hats in the ring to be the next speaker. But these candidates face an uphill battle of getting enough Republicans on board. McCarthy was only able to do it after 15 rounds of votes and tremendous concessions, including allowing a single motion to vacate, which paved the way for his own ousting. Plus, as South Dakota Congressman Dusty Johnson explains, the Republican Party is far from having a united front right now.
If we don't change the foundational problems within our conference, it's just going to be the same stupid clown car with a different driver.
Number 2, until a new speaker is elected, the House is essentially frozen. This means bills won't be able to pass and no new negotiations can occur to keep the government open once the temporary solution that McCarthy bartered runs out. And number 3, whoever does win the gavel has to hit the ground running. The government is only funded through November 17th, so the new leader doesn't have much time to broker a deal with their own party and with Democrats for a long-term solution. The House will be back here in D.C. on Tuesday when they are expected to start the process of picking a new speaker. In Washington, I'm Molly Martinez.
Progressive scholar Cornel West is dropping his bid for the 2024 Green Party presidential nomination. Instead, West will run as an independent. In a video posted to social media, West again promised to, quote, break the grip of the duopoly and give power to the people. He did not explain his break from the Green Party. The former Harvard professor announced his candidacy in June with the little-known Progressive People's Party.
Well, after a stretch of dry and mild weather across the mountains, we are tracking some changes as early as this evening. Up on the radar right now, we are dry but cloudy, but notice a few showers starting to develop over portions of Laurel County, also into Clay County, into Owsley County as well. A few light showers here, but more showers on the way as we look at the London Corbin Airport. You can see we are dry right now and gloomy, and that temperature down to 75 degrees thanks to the clouds, also the showers not too far away. But again, as we zoom out, we are tracking 2 different cold fronts. The first one that will bring the showers. The second one that will bring the cooler air by this weekend. We are tracking some very chilly air by Saturday, also Sunday. Right now, though, we are mild and muggy, and that's going to continue as we go into this evening. 75 in Jackson, also Pikeville, 73 for Hazard, and 75 also in Harlan and Middlesboro. So 75 is a popular number this evening across our region. But again, that chillier air is not too far away after these 2 cold fronts. We are drying out for Saturday, also Sunday, and then some chillier conditions with those lows back in the upper 30s for some areas as you wake up on Sunday. So Steve, if you have any outdoor plans this weekend, you may need to bundle up. All those details coming up in just a few minutes.
And there's certainly a lot of events going on this weekend. Cameron, thank you. Downtown Barberville is packed with vendors and events as the 75th Daniel Boone Festival is underway. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us about the tradition celebrating 2 cultures.
The Daniel Boone Festival draws a big crowd from Kentuckians as they celebrate the pioneer.
It's always been known as the homecoming. We had a lot of people leave the area and go out to work, and so they always came home on Daniel Boone Festival week.
Pioneers are not the only part of early American history celebrated. Native American heritage is celebrated as well.
Friday night we'll do a feast in which we will sign a treaty with our Native American friends from the East.
The treaty says citizens of the Cherokee Nation will visit friends in Kentucky. In return, festival leaders will give them gifts of cane.
We built such a bond here with people, here at Barberville. We look forward to it every year.
Rick Byrd will serve as the parade grand marshal. It is the first time a citizen of the Cherokee Nation will hold that position in the festival's history.
It's kind of evolving into a really big event, and it's just truly an honor to be served as grand marshal this year.
Byrd says their treaty is the first one people have made with the Cherokee Nation and not broken. Festival leaders are proud the tradition has continued to this day. In Barberville, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Festival leaders say the feast will be at 5:30 on Friday, while the parade will be on Saturday at 2. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, believe it or not, early holiday shopping is already underway. And we're not talking about Halloween. Some tips to combat the holiday scares in today's Watching Your Wallet.
And we are mild and muggy this evening, but we could see some patchy frost in some areas by early Sunday. Those details coming up after this break.